Screen?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. So basically, pulse electromagnetic field is not electrosmog, and it's a really cool technology that you can add to your acupuncture office. And I use it almost every day. Basically, the mat is part of my acupuncture table. I have it permanently set up and I just turn it on. Um, and that's easy to use. And when I have specific needs, there's a little extra pillow section that you can hook up for like a knee or a shoulder. And then there's also a pen that you can use. And that pen goes directly into the joints, especially good for like wrists and fingers and stuff like that. So basically, PMF is a very easy to use technology that is tailored to your body's magnetic field. And that magnetic field is something that Western medicine still has to understand, but we're getting there. There's a lot of data, and maybe David can show us more data at the end here. It's definitely a very fascinating topic that each cell has a magnetic field, and we can actually measure that, and we can actually measure its output. And so PMF is, again, it's not electrosmog. It's tailored towards that specific magnetic field. And that's what this device is doing. So basically, it's a patented technology. And you could probably tell us a lot more about the details of the patent, but you can measure a lot of outcomes, among which is obviously oxygen diffusion into cells. And this is a patent that requires a lot of physics and detail to explain, which we don't have time today. I'm just going over the general benefits, which are, basically your cells are not really that static. They have a dynamic field that constantly changes, and it's made by, obviously, it's ion transporters, and nerve cells transport electric signals along ion channels that open and close, and you can actually measure those in a single cell, which I get to later on. So this is a natural biologic rhythm, and this rhythm again can be measured. It's called the Schumann resonance, and you can totally tune in to that specific frequency, and that will restore the cell's membrane in a natural potential and will help it to naturally breathe better on an electric signal. So you tune in to those frequencies of 0.5 to 50 hertz, and that's basically what we can assume from our measurements. And that is the special coherence field. And the PMF then actually also influences the state of the electrons and their spin states. And this is basically informational medicine brought directly into the cells and into their membranes. And we're all about membrane. When we talk about omega-3, we are about the cell membrane. That's what really regulates life. And that's what makes up life. When your membrane is happy, your electric signals are happy, and the cell becomes happy. So there's a lot of things you can measure, like oxygen and microcirculation. You can measure inflammation. Of course, you can measure simple markers, and you can even measure stem cells and how they proliferate. And all of that leads to, bone health and tissue health, and obviously promotes autonomic nervous system balance. And that's exactly what we do with acupuncture. We increase qi, and we basically create a parasympathetic nervous system state through the vagus nerve. And it goes right along, PEMF goes right along with what we do in acupuncture. And I have been combining it now for a year and a half or even longer than that with really great results. And obviously, you could name it the Qigong of acupuncture with an electric device. So it's very exciting. And again, you can measure all of these. I don't have time to go into that, but it's quite possible. So the cells actually create a field, and there are devices to really measure those um, superconducting quantum interference devices. And you can actually clamp a cell personally, which I have done personally, and measure its electric field. So all of these devices do exist, and you can actually go into the picotesla and even femtotesla range. That is basically what you need to measure a cell's magnetic field, and it's very specific. So basically, you can clamp a single cell, again, which I've done in a lab with a syringe that goes through the cell, and you can create a field, and then you can obviously measure the potential. And from that potential across the membrane, you can assume its magnetic field by the Biot-Savart law. And this generated field then can be measured with these devices. So we are not making this up. This is actual real hard physics. And unfortunately, Western medicine does not pay a whole lot of attention to it. But in the end, a local field of 20 picoteslas is very, very, very small, but it is measurable. So we are all about harmony in Chinese medicine. And so when we are basically increasing nitric oxide, we are stimulating calcium signaling and mitochondrial activity, and all of that is also measurable. And this is what PEMF is doing. It is definitely an effect that can be measured inside the cell. And the outcome is simple, exactly what we want: regeneration and lower inflammation and tissue repair. And I've seen it personally with, healing knees and injured joints, and it complements our stem cell therapy very well. So yeah, calcium is kind of the key here. That's the main effect you can measure when you apply this, and there's a huge difference to electrosmog. So it's not anything that is basically damaging your cell. It actually creates ATP and genetic repair, and it's adaptive, and it's a rhythmic controlled effect that you get from PEMF. And again, this is all back to the patented technology, and it is not electrosmog, which we always talk about in terms of creating reactive oxygen species. No, this is actually the opposite. So yeah, that is what I do. And I just really want to clear this up, there's a giant difference, and this field penetrates the whole body and creates a rhythm within each cell and resonating in a very time-limited manner. And the main effects are happy mitochondria, aerobic energy, and reduction of inflammation. Yeah, so that's all I have here. And, I have a lot of things that I could talk about, but is there anything else you want to add to this, David?
Excuse me. No, I think you did a good overview. Um, there's a couple of graphs I could show from some of the patents that we have, which help understand a little bit on what's going on in the body with this resonance-based PEMF. There's various technologies out there that talk about pulse electromagnetic field therapy. It's been around for quite a few years. This technology does originate in Germany, but it has 5 patents, which make it quite unique. And really, the founding organization that worked with Dr. Fisher to develop it, Dr. Linus Pauling, and Robert O'Becker, are really world leaders in electromedicine. And of course, Dr. Pauling, won 2 Nobel Peace Prizes. But they brought together a team of experts because Dr. Fisher was a physicist, and he actually in his late 40s he began to his mid 40s he got a stroke, and he was a very intense guy, and he was really shocked. He brought in a bit. He was a multimillionaire. Brought in a team of experts to create this technology, which healed himself. He's in his late 70s now, and looks like he's in his 50s. And so that was kind of an opportunity to share with this technology with the world. But
Yeah, that's a fascinating story, and I definitely do not understand why this technology isn't mainstream, but then again, we know that nothing that really works is mainstream. So it's definitely something I always wanted to do, is address the physics of the body, which we try to do with acupuncture. So
right, and maybe yeah, I could share a couple of graphs real quick. Might be
yeah, I'll
helpful.
let you I'll let you make you host, and then you can
I think if you
share.
just open sharing it, it'll work. But
I'll make
here
you
we go.
host, you can share.
Okay, there we go. Right. Um, Let me just show this first simple one that we like to show everyone. This is just a schematic of a cell, obviously not the actual cell, but you basically have a positive charge on the outside of every cell and a negative charge on the inside. And that stabilizes, as Hans mentioned, the cell membrane. So the cell membrane is very critical because you're uptaking by ion transport all your nutrients come into the cell, and through the Krebs cycle creates energy, and then the positive charge pulls it out is CO2, H2O, free radicals, and waste products. So this is going on with literally billions of cells all day long. And you have all this renewal potential. So when with acupuncture and other protocols, you're supporting this electromagnetic functionality, both in communication and action in the body. So in their first patent, they were able to show that this IO, or in-out function of the cell membrane, was critical. And using live cell microscopy, they showed the cells prior to the treatment with the cell vital, 5 minutes during a treatment, 5 minutes after treatment, and 15 minutes after. So what they're able to show is the cell membrane basically resorted itself into a proper balance between the minus charge on the inside and plus on the outside. So cells, the plus charge on the outside help give space between the cells and allow the uptake in nutrients and the release. So this, you see 15 minutes, you still have that nice cell arrangement. So this is what's happening, like you're using now for acupuncture. So you're providing this environment within the body, which as you do your acupuncture positioning and other things you do, it's creating a more functional environment for healing to occur. And basically, uh, every cell is the key. Is you want to have energy driven from the cells. So a healthy cell is going to be between 70 to 100 millivolts. But as you age and there's breakdown in the body, without doing other things, you're going to lose your cell energy as the cell membrane becomes weaker, cells are more and more clumped. And so they say that at very high risk, at 20 millivolts is like you're at a cancer level where the cancer cells are really taking over and your own cells are completely destabilized. So that's just one aspect of their patent, which was significant. The other one I like to just mention is, as you mentioned in your presentation, there is an aspect which they've been able to show in the studies in Germany, which they call the calcium cascade, where it shows from, we don't have the colors here, but from red to gray to blue to orange, you're actually going through the cell membrane, and you're actually creating an environment where the calcium can actually uh, freely move and not be caught up in the veins, but being brought back into the bones, which you want to have your calcium in your bones, and you want it not stuck in your vessels. And so this calcium cascade function this way. And so basically you've got a decalcification of blood vessels and building up of calcium in the bones. So when this occurs, you've got 11 processes that are benefited. Macrophages are activated, enzymes are activated, stimulated, and restrained. Nitric oxide is produced, which is very important in your cell and in your blood vessels and cell function. Cell division is stimulated. Cells become differentiated. Because every cell has a certain objective. If it's clumped together, they're not functional, but as they're differentiated, they're able to really do their job. Blood pressure sensors, adrenaline, response to insulin, membrane gates are open, sensitivity of free nerve ends increases, and the fatty acid, metabolism is normalized. So everything you're doing is already going to be improved as you have a healthier cell. They use, I don't know if you know this German expression, but they used it in this report. They said, what they call it, the visit of the rich ant. It just means, the cells get healthier and healthier. So I don't know that expression, but it would be
In German, ja, der Besuch der reichen Tante, ja.
okay. So they talked about that, and that when you talk to the scientists in at QRS Cell Vital in Germany, they say, well, it's as simply as healthy cells, healthy body. So if we
Yeah,
can solve the issue of cell dysfunction, everything starts to restore.
right.
So they're saying, as you do this, heart function effect, blood pressure, blood flow, blood viscosity, respiratory volume, increase in circulation. These are all the things that occur. And then they actually had one study. Oh, I don't know if I put up, but anyway, where it showed there was a calcification of the shoulder, and they showed in a study that actually through a 6 to 8 week period, that was all dissolved, and it completely released motion and pain
Yeah, I
from
think
the,
I've seen that study on one of your slides, and yeah,
yeah,
we I think I can even share the pictures of it. Um,
yeah. I probably have it here if I,
I got it. So if I share my screen again,
okay.
so that's it, right?
Yeah, there I have it too. There you go.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so
this
it
was a
does take a
study.
repetitive treatment, but that's what we do with acupuncture, and it's so great because we have that luxury of repeating treatments so often.
Yeah.
But ideally, you want to take this home, right?
Yes. Here's the remarkable component. Our body is designed to heal. And 80% of the cell regeneration, because you're replacing all these cells second by second. One study says 330 billion in a day. And now 90% of that is in the blood. Um, so, but in deep sleep is where 80% of cell regeneration occurs. So if you create an environment where you are, as we talked about, creating that kind of healthy cell membrane function, then the healthy cell is going to produce a healthier and healthier cell. So every night when you sleep, all the work you've been doing to improve your body is going to be augmented through that cell regeneration that occurs at night. This is where we found a tremendous synergy between stem cells and our cell vital PMF. When they combined it, they got even faster and better results with their stem cell therapy. So this is an exciting component that occurs, yeah, so this is why home and you know the nice thing is the good thing about a German patent is it's stricter than the US patent because if you're talking about scientific effect, you have to show the specific study showing the actual results to claim the patent. You can't just make a claim that we're doing this uniquely. You have to show what you're actually doing. And so by QRS getting right now 4 different patents, they really differentiate themselves. And this is one of the ones that you mentioned earlier. They put a lot of attention way back, and we're talking about 30 years ago, because his patent was granted in 1994. They were concerned about the effects of electrosmog destabilizing the cell membrane. So in their science, they put a lot of focus, and they created a worldwide patent on the ability to, they call it electrosmog killer because it's not killing the electrosmog, it's creating a stability in the cell membrane where electrosmog doesn't destabilize the cells. So this is why having this at home every day, you're talking about that daily renewal. So if you're doing your acupuncture treatment, if you're doing your herbs, you're doing your omegas, everything you're doing is going to be augmented through this regenerative component that happens every night when you sleep, because that's really the key. You're not going to get that good cell regeneration if you're not getting that deep sleep. So yeah, this is another significant aspect of it. So I thought I'd
Yeah,
mention that as well.
I've yet to try it out to sleep on it, I have to say. But yeah, it's definitely on the list. So yeah, this
And
was a
just one more thing I'll just briefly mention because it comes out there is other technologies that provide the pulse electromagnetic field therapy. Much of it is mainly improving blood flow, which is valuable, but it's not changing the cell membrane resonance and all the things that are happening. And many of those devices actually create electrosmog, so you really cannot sleep on them. You can go in for a treatment, you can get some benefit, but it's going to be damaging the body. And there's a program in Germany and in Austria that it's a TCO measuring where they have a standard. They say that the safety standard for the frequency band with 5 hertz to 2 kilohertz to be less than 5 volts. That's the requirement to be safe. And so they ran an independent study, and they showed the number one comparative device, which is out there called Beamer, and there's other versions of it. They measured and they showed that in the head area, the abdominal area, the foot area, and the pillow area, it was 165, 197, 150, 130 volts per meter, all way beyond the allowable 10, less than 10 volts
yeah,
per meter.
which brings me kind of to a point, which is that there are a lot of very expensive PMF out there, and you can
Mhm.
actually feel, when you use your pin, you can actually start feeling it. It's very localized. But those devices usually they make you twitch, and they
Right,
cost tens of thousands, some of them. And they're made like for horses or for animal treatments that need very quick results, right? So in this, that's why I like so much about your product is that it's basically low level and takes time because, that's the way you get repair and not by a fast twitch.
right. I mean, those devices, if you're looking at solving a not a bone fracture. They can be helpful, localized in that area. And there is a place for the we call high Gauss system. But what we're really looking for is this daily renewal and regeneration, offsetting as you age, that regenerative potential is weaker, but this offsets it. So, the Germans say, well, they'll give you another maybe 20 to 30 years of healthy life. That's what
Mm,
you're getting with it. So,
yeah.
and I don't have a complete specific study on it, but
Mhm.
in fact, it's it's I certainly have felt it and experienced it, and I've seen with so many patients around the country remarkable results. And
Yeah, awesome. I'm happy we could get together here today, and I'm going to stop the recording. And it was definitely